How do I tell people my professor was fired because of me? Professor Moravec started with uncomfortable compliments. When I stayed after class for help, he'd mention how mature I looked. When I went to office hours, he'd lock the door for privacy. During my midterm, he stood behind my chair for 10 minutes, breathing on my neck. After that, Professor Moravec got bolder. He changed my lab partner to himself for special mentoring. He assigned me presentations that required after-hours preparation at his house. When I refused, my grades mysteriously dropped. He emailed saying I could earn them back with personal tutoring sessions. At a department mixer, he cornered me by the bathrooms and said my scholarship depended on being friendlier. When I reported it, the department said he was just socially awkward and had tenure. They suggested I switch majors. Everything changed when I found Emma crying in the library. She was Moravec's research assistant from 3 years ago who'd suddenly transferred. He did it to you too, she whispered. Within a week, she'd connected me with 14 other girls. We compared experiences, the locked doors, the grade threats, the special projects at his house. Then Emma showed us something worse, screenshots she'd saved. Moravec had been texting students from burner phones, sending photos, offering grade changes for dates. One girl had recordings of him calling her at 2 a.m. drunk, describing what he wanted to do to her. But the worst part was his grading spreadsheet Emma had photographed. 2 columns for female students, their actual grades and their adjusted grades. The adjustments depended on notes like rejected advance, -15%, wore skirt to office hours, +10%, has boyfriend, -20%. We went to the Title IX office with everything. During the hearing, Moravec stood up shouting, "These girls are colluding for better grades," pointing at me in front of the review board. The investigator pulled up Moravec's university computer records. His browser history showed him checking our social media hundreds of times. Our Instagram stories, our Facebook locations, our LinkedIn updates. He'd screenshotted photos from our nights out. He had a folder called Office Hours with photos he'd secretly taken of students bending over to get papers, adjusting their clothes, or when their shirts showed cleavage. Then they found his university email drafts, unsent messages to students describing their bodies, fantasies about what would happen if they stayed after class. One draft to me detailed what I'd worn every day for a month and what it meant. The investigator showed Moravec's gradebook access logs. Every time a girl rejected him, he'd log in within hours and lower their scores. Emily had gone from an A to a C after refusing dinner. Sarah lost her scholarship after reporting him. 3 girls had to repeat the entire year. Moravec's teaching assistant testified next. Moravec had made him take attendance photos, but only of female students. Had him schedule office hours when specific girls would be alone with Moravec. Made him bring Moravec coffee during those meetings, so he'd have an excuse to check if doors were locked. Then campus security showed their evidence. Moravec's key card accessing the dorms at night. Security footage of him following female students to their cars. Him sitting in his car outside off-campus student housing. 14 different students had reported feeling followed. They just hadn't known it was the same person. The final evidence was from Moravec's office computer. He'd installed a program that took webcam photos every 30 seconds during virtual office hours. Hundreds of screenshots of female students in their bedrooms, some in pajamas, some with roommates visible in the background. He'd zoomed in on their beds, their walls, their personal items. When they read the findings, sexual harassment, stalking, grade manipulation, Title IX violations spanning 6 years, Moravec screamed, "My wife will sue this university." His wife was in the gallery. She stood up and said, "I'm divorcing you." I found the credit card charges. She showed receipts, spy cameras, GPS trackers he put on students' cars, a rental car he used to follow them. Moravec was fired immediately, banned from campus, lost his tenure and pension. The university quietly settled with dozens of students. Every grade he'd ever given was reviewed. 63 female students got retroactive grade changes. He was arrested for stalking and voyeurism, got 2 years in prison and lifetime registration as a sex offender. His teaching license was revoked in every state. So when people ask why my professor was fired because of me, I tell them I was just the first one who didn't transfer schools quietly.